tropical nation of Suriname. Suriname is a former Dutch colony, which gained independence in 1975. It's located in the northern coast of South America and bordered by French Guiana to the east, Guyana to the west, Brazil to the south, and the Atlantic Ocean to the north. Guyana boasts an incredible landscape, including exotic plants and animals, beautiful coastlines, tropical rainforests and jungles, and plentiful rivers. Most importantly, the land has large reserves of natural resources, including iron ore, crude oil off the coast, platinum, diamonds, tin, and bauxite, which is the country's main export and is used to make aluminum. Despite its small size, Suriname has the 9th largest reserve of bauxite in the world. Bauxite is the most important component of alumina and aluminum, and Suriname's large reserves have earned them a platform in the global economic community. Recent discoveries of offshore oil and gold have also contributed to its success. They are part of the Caribbean community and are trading partners with the United States, the Netherlands, Canada, and countries in the surrounding region. Suriname is home to about 500,000 people, 70% of which live in its urban areas. About 1/5 of its people live in the capital, Paramaribo. In the 17th century, the British traded the colony of Suriname to the Dutch. As a result, Paramaribo is modeled after a sprawling Dutch city with pristine colonial houses and European architecture. Despite its historical significance, travel advisories warn about the dangers of Paramaribo and its outlying areas. Tourists are popular targets for pickpockets, armed robbery, and violent crime, and are cautioned to keep their valuables hidden and to avoid walking around alone, especially at night. Suriname is one of the most unique and diverse nations in the world. Dutch colonists brought over African slaves to work on the plantations, where they grew sugar, cocoa, coffee, rice, bananas, and tropical fruits. After the abolition of slavery in 1863, the Dutch brought over contract labor from India, China, and the Java island of Indonesia to replace the slaves. Over time, Suriname has developed a heterogeneous culture, including Creole, Maroon, Indigenous, Southeast Asian, Indian, Chinese, British, Dutch, French, and even Jewish traditions. Over the years, these cultures have blended together to create a distinctly unique country. Practically all of these different ethnicities are incorporated into every aspect of Suriname life. Their food, arts, religion, and cultural practices are all a hybrid fusion of Europe, Southeast Asia, the Caribbean, and African influences. The official language of Suriname is Dutch, but Surimakans also speak Sanan, English, Sarnami, Javanese, and other South American, Maroon, and Creole languages. Suriname has no official religion, but its people practice Christianity, Catholicism, Hinduism, Islam, Judaism, and other religions of the region. As a result, Paramaribo and the rest of the country is filled with temples, churches, and mosques. Suriname is a liberal, representational republic based on its constitution in 1987. The people of Suriname elect a National Assembly, who in turn elect the president by a 2/3 majority. The current president of Suriname is Desi Bouterse. Desi led a military coup in the 1980s, organizing a group of non-commissioned officers to overthrow the newly independent government. The people of Suriname initially supported the coup, but began to dissent when they failed to establish a democracy or appease the Surimakans' demands. In 1982, Bouterse and his men rounded up 15 citizens who opposed his regime. That night, they were executed at Fort Zeelandia. The incident is now known as the December Killings. Bouterse imposed censorship on a once-free media, shutting down privately owned television and radio stations and newspapers. The Surimakans, especially the Maroons, opposed the military authority. They organized a guerrilla group called the Jungle Commando and engaged in a civil war between 1986 and 1992. The war was also fought because the Jungle Commandos and Bouterse were fighting over control of the country's lucrative but illegal cocaine trafficking business. Because of the war, the National Army began killing innocent Maroon civilians, and most of them fled to neighboring French Guiana to escape. Bouterse was eventually forced to give up his throne when European aid stopped coming in because of his violent actions. The elections in 1991 wrested away Bouterse's power, and the country has moved back towards a democracy. Former military dictator Desi Bouterse has returned as Suriname's president after being elected in 2010. His election pardoned him from human rights and drug trafficking charges due to his involvement in the cocaine trade, December Killings, and his treatment of Maroon citizens. Even under Bouterse, today, Surinaman people enjoy freedom of speech and their rights are protected. Now that we've discussed a brief history and politics of Suriname, Let's move on to their cultural music, food, and dance. Saramaccan food is a vibrant, unique hybrid of available ingredients and multicultural traditions. This multicultural contact is embodied in dishes like pasté, a Netherlands-inspired chicken pot pie with Creole meats, spices, and peppers. Famous foodie Anthony Zimmern visited Suriname for an episode of his television show, Bizarre Foods. During his stay, Zimmern fished in the Amazon and Suriname rivers and went on a 2-day hunt through the Saramaccan rainforest. He feasted on one-of-a-kind eats like peanut dumplings, grilled bombi lizards, and exotic bushmeats. He also ate a variety of Creole-influenced stews, with the main ingredients ranging from turtles and piranhas to a unique array of hot peppers. Other traditional Saramaccan dishes include roti and dal, which are derived from India, and vatapa, a seafood dish with peppers and mixed vegetables. Javanese, Indian, African, Creole, Maroon, Chinese, Caribbean, and Southeast Asian cultures have one thing in common. They all love to dance. In Suriname, dancing is a pivotal part of celebrations, holidays, and rites of passage. Styles of dance in Suriname stem from all of its inhabitants, including African tribal dances and ancient Chinese and Hindu tradition. Saramaccan music and dance have the deepest roots in African traditions. The swift, popular Kaseko dance was originally named Casse le Coeur by the French, which roughly translates to break the body. Popular Saramaccan music is Big Pokey, a unique fusion of African and Caribbean instruments, such as the large bass drum called a scratchy, but is structurally modeled after American and European big band music of the 1930s. Hindu Suriname songs called bhajans combine Hindu songs and tempos with African-sounding drums, such as the tassa. The tan-singing style, a blend of Creole and Hindu vocals, is unique to only Suriname and Guyana. Let's have a listen. The Federation of Visual Artists in Suriname was founded in Paramaribo in October of 1998. The Federation was created to help promote visual artists and gain greater notoriety on a local and more globalized scale. The Federation boasts a large collection of artists and the vibrant multicultural works they've created. Traditional art forms include paintings, sculptures, wood carvings, and basket weaving, all of which display the cross-cultural geometrical patterns and bright colors found throughout Latin America, Africa, and the Caribbean. Despite its tropical beauty and breezy weather, Suriname's tourism industry didn't develop until the 21st century, and it has still struggled to blossom. Although travelers are warned of small-scale crime, the country is becoming safer with the onslaught of more and more hotels. Another reason to visit Suriname is the Central Suriname Nature Reserve, which protects over 6,000 square miles of untouched tropical rainforest. The reserve was named a World Heritage Site at the turn of the century by the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization. Today, Suriname struggles with government overspending and debt, but is significantly better off than most of its Latin American and even European counterparts. Its reserves of bauxite are gradually depleting, and the market is prone to fluctuations, but the discoveries of offshore oil and onshore gold promise an economic future for Suriname. With greater wealth and globalization, Suriname's cultural practices have continued to become more Western, as more of its people move to Paramaribo and other large cities. When a distinctly diverse population, Suriname's ethnicities exist in relative harmony. Its political parties and religious institutions stay within ethnic confines, but the economic opportunities in Suriname keep its people happy enough to achieve a stable form of peace. Its people have reasonable access to healthcare, but other social services, such as welfare, unemployment, and social security, are virtually unheard of.